what it is. Every revolution or every political movement or any kind of change, and having someone, okay, CIA, which is fucking for you to call me CIA when you know I'm not.
Everything was politicized. It was, oh, this is when we became the left versus the right. But both sides are trash. In COVID,
his own thing. So it seems to be that money's the issue, that like we're using money and that's how politics is being pushed. Because now we've seen what someone does when they use their own money and it doesn't seem to be a solution. So I feel like we take money out of politics, we'll have a much better political system.
Politician, you think they're gonna come out and tell me the truth? They was lying to my mama. They ain't gonna never tell us.
So everybody, we look at certain things just because, oh, this happens in the hood or we see this every day. All the way up. These people were speaking truth. King, we could talk X, we could talk it all. They were speaking truth.
What's going on in anyone's mind, but let's take it as a given that Gray's argument is true, that the argument to not have ID is that it would be discriminatory versus certain socioeconomic brackets or something. It's like
the world's greatest trial run of what people will do and what people won't do. And we are the only country on the planet that really fought against the government.
Explain. Good question. I'll give you the answer. The Republican Party constantly talks about transgenders and transgender surgery to minors.
I'm mostly on the left, ideologically, but I don't associate with the Democrats because they're not ideologically on the left. The Democrats are clowns, and they're also losers.
About to be any engaging conversation. It's not about to be any discourse about different political ideologies, what works and what doesn't. If that is the outcome, right? For example, I'm not gonna go and just put myself in the middle of a KKK rally.
Verify me, I'm not a fucking fed. They always do this. I'll say this, right? But they did the same thing to Nick. We've seen the video. They'll call people who are genuine and authentic feds because
the interesting thing to me is that the ones that claim that they believe the Constitution are now trampling the Constitution. The ones that said they believed in the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, right, are now going against the freedom of speech.
Perspective.
They don't have no plan. They don't ever talk about nothing positive about the Democrat Party. Everything is just anti-Trump. They're not willing to have a conversation. They call us fascists. We willing to have a conversation. Charlie Kirk's willing to have a conversation.
Raging in Iran.
We're praying for all the soldiers and troops.
That's great that you're praying, but
how about all the kids that died when the USA hit the towers?
It broke my heart. That is the
In what ways have you grown closer to Jesus?
I serve a righteous God. And that is why we say our prayers. We are all his children. But when I say children, I mean like the holy, blessed Trinity, which is why I hold the Bible.
Sweet cream foam chai ice matcha. And Bella will have all organic Pup Cup.
Organic?
Yes, everything organic.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? 4, 3, 7. Oh, Hannah, you good? 4, 3, 2. Hold your chest lifted. We're gonna lift.
We have to protect all men in America, especially all white men in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country. America is built on their backs. Yes, because they are the ones who mattered most.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Party. Why I like the new party? Number one, it's a group of people that's on a panel. We all have differences, but we all basically still come together at the end of the day. The new party for me is about unity. The new party for me is about educating people to the truth, letting people know what's been going on in our country. With that being said, shout out to the new party, man. We're going to keep it going with y'all.
Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mars.
It's Mia.
I'm Kamal.
And tonight on the new party, we are going to talk about extremism here in America. That very first clip that you saw, we discussed. We played the Druski clip. Kamal, you were cracking up. You tweeted about it today. You said some people are offended.
Yeah.
Talk about what you've seen online, and do you think that they should be offended?
Man, these motherfuckers crying. Go boohoo somewhere else. Y'all crying a fucking river. Man, this is hilarious. We know how Druski get down. You feel me? Y'all weren't crying when he was making fun of them black Israelites. Y'all was quiet as hell. Hey, shout out to my brother Kiwi. He laughed at it too. Yeah. You feel me? And he was spot on with Erica Kirk. All them death stares and all the dancing and shit. I know y'all been seeing it.
In his defense, he just said conservative women. He didn't even say Erica's name, right? And in his defense, he never said Erica's name. But to be honest, it's one of those things where like the right constantly says people can't take a joke. They constantly call people snowflakes. They say people are pussy. They constantly say people get upset about nothing. And this is one of those times where, okay, well, practice what you preach. This is a joke. Millions of people laughed. Take it in kind. Don't be what you are claiming you hate. Because right now, if you're complaining about this, I mean, you're being a snowflake, as one would use that term.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the right definitely can't take a joke down that they're the ones crashing out. I saw the Reverend. He was like, oh, this is a widow. She's going through all of, she's grieving essentially. And
no,
then
she
Man,
no, she
I'm tired of that sassy punk. God damn.
She is not grieving, man. That lady's not grieving. I work in hospice care. I've seen real grief when somebody dies, whether it is expected or unexpected. That lady ain't dying. She's happy. She's only upset that JD can't divorce his wife and she can't get married to JD. That's it.
Well, that brings us into our first topic, or our topics of the night. We are going to be talking about the three political sides in this country: the far left, the far right, and the red pill movement. the three extremes that I think is pushing our country into dangerous directions. We'll start with the far left because people are saying that Druski is part of the left. Here in this video, we're going to talk about and show what the far left represents. One of the main things that people attack the left on is censorship. Here we go.
Subject. We went back into the archives and dug this up. Folks, this is long. I'll warn you, and I want you to settle in. But we stitched this together over a series of months and years. I archived this because every one of these instances chilled me to my bones. And I said every time they happened to Fast Eddie, put it in the vault, add it to the archive, stitch it together. Over the last 4 years, and this is not an exhaustive montage, this is my personal montage of the times that we have come across chilling behavior related to government and government officials suggesting your speech should be chilled. Listen.
You know, I do think that several members of Congress in some of my discussions have brought up media literacy because that is a part of what happened here.
We do have now some of the sound, as I told you. We're not, and the audience, we're not carrying his remarks live because, frankly, he says a lot of things that are not true and sometimes potentially dangerous.
And it's part of our problem, particularly in democracies, in terms of building consensus around any issue. It's really hard to govern today.
We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy.
One could watch that and say, well, she didn't give a clear, direct answer. That's okay, because we are not talking about clear or direct issues.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
I mean, basically the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. There was we thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant.
We're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation and misinformation.
It is just getting started. So far, he's just giving his normal list of grievances. We don't consider that necessarily newsworthy, and there's a cost to us as a news organization of knowingly broadcasting untrue things. So our deal with you is that we will monitor these remarks. If he does say anything newsworthy, we will turn them around and report on that right away. But for now, just know that it's happening and we're not taking it.
But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence.
At some point, maybe there needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members.
If you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable as a community.
So when you say the distribution is decreased,
it got shared.
How does that work?
It basically, the ranking in newsfeed was a little bit less. So fewer people saw it than would have otherwise. So it definitely.
By what percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's meaningful.
But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda, and whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrent.
There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
So what we need is to win the ground, win the right to govern by hopefully having, winning enough votes that you're free to be able to implement change.
That there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. And
So, Gray, you are the Democrat on the panel tonight. What is your thoughts? Should there be regulations on free speech, or should it just be like a free for all? Anything can be said.
Well, I was just reading an article today, and they were talking about Elon Musk taking over X, and they said Elon Musk picked the one letter out of the alphabet that's associated with pornography. So if you look at X, it's been basically just a whole bunch of anti-Semitism, whole bunch of just recklessness on the platform. When Jack Dorsey was the person in charge of it, it was heavily regulated, and then it was like a huge thing because when January 6th happened, people wanted Trump to go on Twitter and say, hey, stop this. And we saw that Trump was just able to say some old X and people reacted to it in real time. So, yes, it should be regulated.
Wow. Okay. So again, this is proving the point. This is a Democratic agenda. They want to take away your free speech. Gray proved it tonight, guys. You heard the Democrats say they want to take away your free speech. This will probably be the only thing I will get hyped about. But let's watch. This is Nancy Pelosi talking about gender care for kids.
Just responding to the pauses in gender affirming care here in California.
Well, that is something that I'm working for at the national level, and we have, how can I say, are hoping that we can have gender affirming care for our trans kids, and that it's a sad thing for us. I'm not totally. I don't know what effect we can have nationally with what we have going on in the White House and in the Congress. It's really very sad. If you were there, outside our door, we have a trans flag. Outside of our door in the office, congressional office building, we have the trans flag, as do some of our other colleagues. But that view is not necessarily shared by people on the other side of the aisle.
Mia, what did you just think about what you just heard? We heard a Democrat tonight say we should not have free speech. You heard them all say it. You heard the one on the panel say it. Now you're also hearing another Democrat talking about going after our children with gender affirming care. Is the progressive far left going too far? And what's your thoughts?
First and foremost, this is the United States. You should be able to say whatever you want and just deal with the consequences. If you don't have discernment, that is not my fault. If you say something and you can't handle the smoke from what you say, again, that is not my fault. It is not our job to police people. It's in the Constitution. You could say whatever you want to say. If idiots are stupid enough to believe you, that's on them, not on me. It is what it is. We should never limit speech, because once you open that door, it stays open. And then the next person opens it wider and wider and wider. Next thing you know, we're like China and we don't have any free speech at all. We can't say anything. So, and we already have laws in place when it comes to harassment or anything like that. So there are consequences to your said speech. But on a national level, we should never stop people from being able to say what they need to say. And we should never police them, period. Not my problem. And when it comes to children should be allowed to be children. If you truly believe that you are a two-spirited person, you can absolutely wait till you're 18. You can absolutely wait till you're an adult. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have services such as mental health or anything like that. They should. But they should have no pharmacology. They should have no access to surgery, even with both parental permission. We should not be changing the chemical makeup or the physical makeup of their bodies. When they're 18 and they are a legal adult, they can make that decision. But regardless, it's astounding that people think that an entire generation of kids, basically we're making these kids disabled. There's a reason why when you go to Europe, they have stopped all transitioning for minors for a reason. Because we have 14-year-olds walking around with osteoporosis, with bones so brittle, these kids can't even fall. They can't run. They can't anything. And we have an entire movement that's filled with hundreds of thousands of detransitioners now that are speaking in front of Congress because now big business and big billionaires and big pharmacology are in it. They're in it for the money. They're not in it to save these kids because they actually think these kids have problems. This is just like a money trade now. Before, you used to have to be an adult. You used to have to spend years living as a woman or like a transvestite. You used to have to get multiple mental health checks from multiple doctors. Like, it was a big deal, and only a handful of surgeons in the entire country performed these kind of surgeries. And it was a big deal, and it took a long time to get. Now it's like candy. Anybody can do it. And I just don't think that's right.
The other thing is Tampon Tim, they call him Tampon Tim, excuse me, Tim Walz. This is what he did in the bathrooms. This was a big thing. Here we go.
Conservative pundits and politicians are criticizing Minnesota Governor Tim Walz for signing a law that puts tampons in grade school bathrooms. Paul Spey checks the details for PolitiFact.
Is Minnesota putting tampons in boys' bathrooms? That's what Fox News host Jesse Waters said the other day, and he said it was directed by Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, the Democratic vice presidential candidate. Take a look.
He's sick. Walz forced schools to stock tampons in boys' bathrooms. Tampons in fourth grade boys' bathrooms.
Is that right? Not exactly. Minnesota did pass a law that says menstrual products should be accessible to students in grades 4 through 12, but it doesn't single out boys' bathrooms. It just says the product should be available to all who need them. Some have pointed out, hey, that could include transgender students, and sure. But this advocate told us local school districts are allowed to come up with their own plans for complying with the law. So they could just decide to stock girls' bathrooms or bathrooms for all genders. Ultimately, the law as written does not specifically tell schools to put tampons in boys' bathrooms. And that's why the Truth and Media rates this claim mostly false. To read more about this law, check out our story on WRAL.com.
So, yes, Minnesota supports putting tampons in schools. So does North Carolina. Our lawmakers started the Feminine Hygiene Products Grant Program in 2021. It created a pool of $250,000 and gave out grants to schools so that they could buy the products. School districts jumped at the opportunity. A report showed 66 of North Carolina's 115 public school districts applied for and received a grant. The report also found there is a direct link between student academic success and the provision of hygiene products in school because it removes financial barriers and stress. Last year, the Republican-led General Assembly expanded the program, increasing the pot of money to $500,000. This is great for students. A 2023 study found 1 in 4 teens and 1 in 3 adults struggle to afford period products. There are a few reasons why. For one, tampons are not tax exempt in North Carolina. We're one of 21 states, shaded in yellow on this map, taxing period products at the standard rate. So in North Carolina, that tax is 4.75%. But there are a lot of other products that are exempt from that tax. Cotton, tobacco, peanuts, and other farm products. No sales tax when sold to manufacturers. Wood chippers, certain public school books, food sold in school buildings. So if that's all tax exempt, why not period products? Some North Carolina lawmakers introduced a bill last year to make it happen, but it's stuck in committee. But let's be real, that 4% tax is not breaking the bank. I'd say the stick.
Kamal, I mean, we're watching the liberal media in full swing. And I know you're independent or, you're non-political, but what do you think about the spin on that news story? I mean, they're like, no, it's not true. It is true, actually. Tim Walz did put tampons in boys' bathrooms. That is true. That's not made up. But the reason for it is because his thing is there are girls, biological girls transitioning to boys, and now they are then boys. So they're using boys' bathrooms. What do you think about what you heard?
They said 4th grade, right?
Yeah.
This shit insane, y'all. Putting tampons, let alone the boys' bathroom. The girls' bathroom in the 4th grade? Nah, that's getting too close to the P-foul shit. I'm sorry. 4th grade? I could kind of see middle school, you know what I mean, for the girls' bathroom and shit. not the boys. I'm like, why the fuck y'all putting tampons in the boys' bathroom? That shit crazy. You feel
I'll
me?
say there are little girls that start their period at 9 now. I'm about to blow your mind. In our generation, that didn't happen, but these kids now, they start their period mad young.
I know, I heard of somebody a woman started her period at 10, so I know it's young, but I'm just like, it don't happen too often, right? And for this elementary school, y'all, we got to think about this. This elementary school. Come on now. I can see middle school for the girls' bathroom, but the boys' bathroom, that's shit weird. I ain't gonna lie, that's some weird ass shit. Put the tampons in the boys' bathroom, let alone fourth graders. I don't know what to tell you. Shit is insane.
Yeah, I mean, so that's part of it. A lot of people are upset. They say that they go too far. But the next thing that many people, when I was doing research on it, where they feel they go too far is defunding the police. Here we go.
We've been talking about defunding the police.
There's some issues that we ask police to do, like mental health issues or policing in schools and all the rest, that perhaps we can shuffle some of that money around.
Suck it up. Defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police.
Mayor Eric Garcetti saying, take some of the money from policing, about $150 million.
I applaud Eric Garcetti for doing what he's done.
Funding isn't necessarily as aggressive as a lot of folks paint it. School budgets get cut almost every year.
Not only do we need to disinvest in police, but we need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
So yes, to some defunding.
I know. Heaven forbid her and her family get caught scamming.
We have to
I see why
reallocate
she
resources.
said
So
it.
yes. Would you
I
echo
forget
calls from
about
some
those
Black Lives
Somalians.
Matter activists to defund the police?
Well, I think now is the time that we need to actually do that work.
It is outdated. It is wrong-headed thinking to think that the only way you're going to get communities to be safe is to put more police officers on the street. So yes, defund your butts. Defund you.
We do need to reimagine how we are dispatched to these scenes in terms of what's the best tool to bring.
Again, what I mean by defund the police is not take all funds from the police. It is a reduction of the funding going into the police department.
They are talking about reducing the allocation of resources to that department. And I think every single city in this country ought to be thinking about the same thing.
The minute you talk about reducing a police department's budget, then it's like all hell breaks loose, and everybody acts like you're signaling Armageddon. But that's not the case.
Yes, I support the reallocation of resources from NYPD.
We will be moving funding from the NYPD to
youth
initiatives.
The hip hop Congress.
Yes, I support the defund movement. I'm for responsible reallocation of resources.
And defund the police.
I think you do all those other things, you don't need all the money that's going to the police department. So yeah, I mean, the spirit of it, I do support that.
We need to invest more in neighborhood services and programming for our residents, for our communities on the front end. Where will that money come from? Well, it can come from overbloated budgets in police departments.
So no, we should not continue to fund more and more our law enforcement, putting the pressure on them to be the whole arbiter of a safe community.
Yeah, and a lot of us were asked if we could imagine a future without police back in 2017 when we were running for office. And I answered yes to that question.
We are going to reduce funding in the police department and redirect that money.
There's no reason the police budget should just keep growing and growing and growing. They can make sensible cuts to police.
Okay, it literally goes on for 8 minutes. Kimberly, I know you're left-leaning. I know you don't call yourself a Democrat, but can you explain to everyone why the concept of defunding the police does or doesn't work?
It's so the slogan itself, defund the police, is off-putting because it's misleading. So that's where you lose a lot of people in that conversation. I'm going to get a shirt. I'm going to get a shirt that says, I recommend you this one book because I think I've said it a lot. I'm going to recommend you guys this book right here. It's called Propaganda by Alec, I can't say his last name, Karakstanis. And when it comes to the issue of policing, it's the way they communicate the issue that it's where you lose people. Because if you look at funding of police, and I don't want to bloviate too much, But the more you invest in police, the more crime goes up, because that's the way that the policing system is set up. So I don't necessarily agree that the slogan, just like the slogan Black Lives Matter, went haywire. Defund the police is also now counterproductive. I think the conversation needs to be had at where and how we are providing for our communities, because the same with abortion, the same with immigration, crime, and a bunch of other issues, a lot of these silly liberals, and even with the trans issue that you spoke of earlier, a lot of these silly liberals, they'll address it more for like, no, I'm not a communist. They'll address it for more of like a response to something rather than addressing the root issue of something, right? So, for example, instead of providing spending more money in the government, which costs more money, to provide tampons in the schools, you could just uplift the people and raise the minimum wage, right? Provide more money for the people so that they're able to provide for themselves and cut off corporate tax rates and corporate subsidies, right? Common sense. Same with crime. If you give more to social services, community services, emphasizing the importance of the family unit, communities, that's how you address the issue of crime. But so this book is a really, really good book. I highly recommend it. It talks about how the media propaganda after George Floyd, they started implementing more body cameras, and it's actually had a bad effect with crime. It's actually increased crime because the police, the way that they use the body cameras is actually not productive either. And now we ended up, even after the George Floyd protests, they wanted to defund the police. Police are now actually funded more. But the more you fund police, you're taking away from the services of the community, and that's what creates more crime. Because 98% of crimes are crimes of poverty and desperation. Less than 5% of crimes are actually crimes of assault or abuse. So like, if you just address at the root cause of the issue what crime is, and not at the latter part, right after crime has already occurred, which is counterproductive, then that's, I think, where the productive conversation needs to be had. But yeah, where you get these silly liberals, and I mean, I don't know, I missed the first couple minutes, but I'm not sure if you made a little compilation of the silly conservatives, because they're also against free speech, especially when it comes to the issue of Israel.
We'll be talking about the far right.
Oh, okay, cool. I love it, because especially with free speech, when it has to do with the public square, the public domain, which is now social media, right? People don't meet in person at the public square anymore, so now it's social media. More regulation of free speech actually causes more division. So the only answer to hate speech is correct speech. So yeah, I think I can definitely speak to everything that's wrong with the Democrats and everything that the Democrats are doing wrong, because they're not really trying to fix the issue. They're just throwing money at the problem by virtue signaling, while they're getting money from a lot of the same donors that the Republicans have. It's really at the expense of the American voters.
Yeah, so we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk about the right issues with the right now. If you guys are watching, please hit the like button. So yeah, the rise of far right populism is also a problem in this country. In doing my research, there were a few topics that came up that are the biggest issues that people said. The first that we're going to talk about is multiculturalism. This is what Tucker Carlson had to say about it. This was a debate on our show a few weeks back. Is America a melting pot?
I can imagine a multiracial society. I certainly want to. I don't understand what a multicultural society is. How can you have a multicultural society? Because society is culture. So like, how can many exist in one society?
Well, and this is, I think, a real problem with our really modern and vulgar use of race. Race is a macro category. Ethnos is a more organic micro category, right? And so when we think about different ethnicities in Europe, there are many, right? The difference between an Italian and a Swede is rather large. However, there's this
vast,
right? It's huge,
vast,
right? But there's this macro core, category of white or European, and that means something, but it really only means things in a highly racialized society. So it used to be that in America we had Black Americans, and they had a specific ethnic identity because they had basically been shorn of their previous ethnic identity. They didn't have a connection to their tribe, to their peoples, to their history, and so they had an ethnogenesis. They formed an ethnos in the United States. But the white population, the European descendants, were ones that had different European ethnos backgrounds. They had Germanic backgrounds, they had English backgrounds, Irish, all these, right? And so those different identities were distinct, and we even had different neighborhoods, entire states that were settled by very different peoples, even though they're of European descent. But as we have racialized, as we have become only interested in those macro categories, all of those separate white ethnoses that once existed have been pulled into
or
a
separate
singular
Black,
identity.
for that matter.
Right? Yeah, the ones that existed previously.
Yeah, Washington D.C. is I think the largest population of Ethiopians and Eritreans who are Black. Ask them what they think of local Black people.
Right.
I don't know that they have anything in common. They don't seem to. Right. So, but why would you want to erase all of those very real differences? Like why pretend that Swedes are the same as Sicilians?
Because eventually each one of those particular cultures creates a high level of resistance to both standardization and scale of managerial power, but most importantly, to government power. Because peoples with particular traditions and identities aren't going to just go along with whatever the government says. They have real, organic, deeply seated understandings of who they are. We can just look at COVID, right? Who are all the people that actually resisted during COVID?
Orthodox Jews, the Amish.
The religious, people with high degrees of individual transcendent identities, right?
Yeah.
This is my group, my practice of my religion, the people I go to church with, the people in my community, they are more important than whatever the state believes. Samuel Huntington is a guy who I really like. He wrote the Clash of Civilizations and Who Are We? And I think won his debate with Francis Fukuyama pretty decisively. But he said in Who Are We, his book about American identity, the core of American identity is the Anglo-Protestant spirit. And he's a man of the center left, as a Harvard professor. This is a guy who's not, he's not, you can only be an Anglo or a Protestant to be part of America. But he says even the Catholics and Jews in America take on this Anglo-Protestant affect in some way. And so you have to have this majority culture for people to assimilate to. And so when we're talking about a heritage American, we're either talking about someone who is tied specifically to that tradition, or someone who has come here and has been here for generations, but understands that they are conforming to that way of being, that's the...
Gray, you came from a family of sharecroppers. You can trace your family's DNA back to the slave trade coming in. Well, from what you told me, am I wrong when you did your ancestry? What do you think about everything you just heard? I know you tell me the reason why you'll never be a Republican or a conservative is talking points like this. I'm sure it represents it. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, basically, but what that guy was saying in that video, he was saying that white people come to America and they blend into just being white, and that blacks, this is more of a pan-African type conversation, that blacks all came from these separate different tribes, separate different languages, but from West Africa came a part of the Atlantic slave trade, so they just all created their own culture as African American. So that's a little bit different than I would say, like, as far as my personal beliefs with the Republican Party. My personal beliefs with the Republican Party is, yes, they obviously have a courtesy for whites. And so Democrats seem to have more a liking to minorities. Not that I'm racist or that I feel like I'm just for black people. It's just that for me, that racially, it may seem like they may be harmful to African Americans.
I mean, I'm going to play, somebody mentioned Nick Fuentes. This is another thing, Christian nationalism. This is what he had to say.
America first. It's America first until we die. It's Jesus Christ first until we die. Never forget what side we're on. We're on the side of European civilization, European white civilization. The Romans, the Greeks, the Spanish Empire, the British Empire, the German Empire, the Renaissance. We are on the side of European civilization. We are on the side of Jesus Christ and his church. The Jews put him on the cross. Never forget that. And we're on the side of the United States of America. That's what side we're on. I'm not a conservative. I'm not one of these, I'm not in favor of Western kind and Western this and that. I'm not part of a U.S.-Israel alliance, Judeo-Christianity, nationalism for all nations, like they say. It's not even about the right and the left. Fuck the right and the left. It's not about right and left. It's about, are you with our civilization? Are you with Jesus? Are you with America? Those are the questions that matter. Israel's against all of them. Israel's against America. Israel is against the church. They're against Christ. They're against our civilization. They always have been.
So my point in playing that was about the Christian nationalism. Kamal, what did you think about what you heard? Is America a Christian country? Because that seems to be something that a lot of people on the right say. They say this is a Christian country. You better fall in line. This is what it is. What do you think?
I mean, it is a Christian country, but they did use that religion against us Black Americans. That's for damn sure. I'll put it like this. If y'all close your eyes, imagine that nigga Nick Fuentes with a black face. Who do y'all hear in y'all head? Don't say it. Don't say it.
Does
Just
it
imagine.
start with A?
Huh?
Does it start with a K?
It starts with an A. Starts with an A.
Yeah, just when you hear Nick Fuentes next time, just close your eyes. Imagine him in blackface, which Erica Kirk said if she would have done blackface, niggas would have been out of control because of Druski shit. But just imagine the shit. You feel me? And yes, America is a Christian country. You feel me? Let's not act stupid now. All right? It is a Christian country. Now, is the Christians doing the right goddamn thing? Now, that's a whole different conversation. But I'm going to stop it at there.
Oh, man, you said a whole lot. But the other thing is the stop the steal, chaos in the streets, January 6th, that was like a big thing. Let's watch.
Been organizing protests inside Capitol buildings in other states. It was apparent that he was planning to do a siege on the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Revolution! Revolution! Using other state capitals for practice dry runs.
We're probably ready to storm the Capitol with us in a couple of minutes.
We're all actors, but I want to direct and act.
He says he's a Trump supporter, right?
Trump, would you shut up? Would you shut up? Rhetorically, Trump was retarded. Trump was just annoying.
Well, that's exactly how you would do it. Think about it.
Stop the Steal is not just a political movement. It's not even a Trump movement. It's not a Trump movement.
You become the face of your enemy so that when the media demonizes you, they're actually demonizing your enemy.
I'm done with this president. I'm going to go public supporting impeachment. I have no choice. He has to go. He has to go. Run again. You'll get your fucking brains beat in.
No, I think it's really bad for the movement. This hurts. It doesn't help. I'm not sure what they thought they were going to achieve.
Roger as well, and he suggested you may run for president. Is that the...
No, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. One day at a time.
One day at a time.
Love you, man.
Thank you, General.
Where you don't want to go into politics, would you consider the vice presidential nod?
Hey, Stu, let's get one thing straight here with Trump. Trump's got to make a decision about what does he believe he must do.
Kind of try to get in their mind. You have to understand how they eat, how they walk, how they talk, what they like, what pushes their buttons, what drives them nuts, what upsets them, what makes them happy. And then you use that to your advantage to push whatever ideology or product or direction you want them to go. So if I want to blackmail you and put you under my thumb, not only will I know everything, but I will know your deepest, darkest fears. I will know people I can get in contact to find out more about you. Maybe you had like an old hockey injury. So if I wanted to attack you, I'd know where to hit you.
I believe Donald Trump knows everything. Michael Flynn was tied to NSO between Obama and when he came into the Trump administration. NSO produced Pegasus, a surveillance software for phones. I noted that the quote unquote Biden person, whoever it is, imposed a restriction on any American business doing business with NSO. I think Donald Trump knows.
You understand enough about someone and you can hack their shadow, right? You can use their fears, you can use their anxieties.
So the answer is yes. I could be wrong. I pray that I'm right. But I think that's why people don't understand some of the things that President Trump does. They look at it and go, why would he endorse that person? Trust him that he has a reason. If I'm right, and I believe I am, that he's 20 steps ahead of everybody, he knows where he's going. He has not left. Why did Michael Flynn say Trump gave up on us? No, he did not. He's still fighting. Why did Mike Flynn and Sidney Powell and Patrick Byrne try to get President Trump in December to sign martial law publicly? Because if they had done that, and if he had done that, the country would have gone into a civil war. Because even half of the people that voted for Trump had been brainwashed to believe that he lost and that he was going to try to coup the country with the military. They tried to set him up. He didn't bite.
I played the clip to prove a point that how easily influenced, and Mia talked about this at the beginning, how easily influenced people are. How easily influenced. Trump didn't tell these people to go kick down the door and smear poo-poo and feces everywhere. They did that on their own. You know, and I will say I do feel bad for some of these people because some of them just walked into the building and got arrested. A lot of them, a good chunk of them didn't kick down the door. They walked in, they thought they were allowed to be in there when you listen to their stories and their versions. And also there were CIA mixed into the crowd. There were undercover agents mixed in. So that's why I have empathy for these people. But the fact of the matter is this rhetoric, this, they stole the election, this, and I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I'm just presenting the facts. Mia, what's your thoughts on everything you heard? What do you think? Do you think that this far-right populism is destroying America, or did it need to happen?
I think it's all propaganda. I think far right and far left doesn't actually exist. This is all a psyop from the CIA. Everything that's happening is exactly what the government wants. Like, we have all been brainwashed. Our parents were brainwashed. I mean, I sent you guys that very in-depth, interesting video of literally 80 years of CIA ops and operations that they've been running, not only internationally, but in this country. And this is declassified information. So, and if we were in the Matrix, all right, this shit does not exist. Like, this, it's a construct of what the CIA and what the government wants us to be like. They want us to fight each other because if we're fighting each other, we're not fighting them. If we are fat and low vibrational, we're not fighting them. If we're sick, we're not fighting them. If our kids are acting a fool, now they have another generation that's not fighting them because they're too busy fighting each other. It all circles back to this is how they wanted it to go. And to be honest, people don't think about it, but we've been in like a silent war. It has literally been the government versus us for decades upon decades upon decades. This is exactly what they want to happen. I feel bad for a lot of people that are so involved with these movements that they can't see that they're being used by these government entities and they are perpetuating this propaganda and they can't see it. That I do feel bad for because there's a lot of good people who just didn't have the mental capacity to not be used.
No, you're right. And the last rise of the factor of the right that we're seeing is Islamophobia. Like, and the biggest psyop. I'm about to play him. I'm going to play it and we'll talk about it.
Muslim scam artists out of New York City. You're a bunch of scammer, invader, illegals. Get the fuck out of New York. Get the fuck out of New York. Get out of New York, you scam artists. DHS and ICE is coming for you motherfuckers. Don't buy their goods. Un-American, un-American. Get the fuck out of New York. Honestly, if I catch a Muslim that's coming at me and blow his head off outside my home and I get it on video, it'll be the most viral video of all time. Jake Lang blows the head off of a Muslim trying to jihad him. Watched it in slow motion 4K from a Ring doorbell. Pretty cool. So, you know, I mean, hey.
Don't threaten you with a good time.
Don't threaten you with a good time, yeah. If I get the opportunity.
Did you see who was with him?
Andre.
We need to back it up, run the tape. Because Andre, see, this is the thing. I ain't going to name no names. But somebody felt that I love Andre, and Andre's my buddy. Andre, run it back. Run the tape back. We got to run the tape back. I love Andre as a friend. I love all of y'all equally. But Andre, you said this wasn't your homie. This was pretty recent, I think, right? Was this Minnesota where he said this at? I'm going to need somebody to do some research. Mia, you need to do some research. Where was this clip at? We need to research.
Okay, from a Ring doorbell. Pretty cool. So, you know, I mean, hey.
Don't threaten you with a good time.
Don't threaten you with a good time, yeah.
Hey, that's Andre. I know him.
If I get the opportunity
to
slay one of these
I think it was
disgusting
Detroit. Because remember, that looked like the same outfit that Andre had on when he got thrown around in Detroit.
Good. Well, then he's telling the truth because he claims he ain't talked to Homeboy since Detroit. So if this was more recent than Detroit, we have a problem, Andre, because you said you ain't hanging out with Homeboy. You said that he was, and so the reason why I say that this is the biggest psyop, he is an operative. This guy, Jake Lang, he is, you know, and I'm bringing up his race because of the things he says. He is secret. He says he's a Christian. He says he's for anti-Muslims because he's a Christian, but come to find out he's really Jewish, which again, I don't have a problem that he's really Jewish. My problem is he says he's a Christian. So like, I don't know, like, which is it? And he goes in and his whole focus is Islamophobia, attacking Muslims. Kimberly, what do you think of this rise of hate against Muslims on the right? Is it real? Is it fake? What do you think?
I think like what Mia said, it has some truth to it. It is definitely it's definitely a side, but it's being forced on us, definitely. Which the government has been doing for decades. Even I went in depth about the huge psyop that they had in Puerto Rico and how they were able to, it's so sad how they do that. But the way that you really get a population is by dividing them, divide and conquer. And you do that psychologically. I am inclined to believe that we are not this hateful. I think that we are intentionally being divvied up because there is no war but class war. And a lot of us have more in common than we really like to admit. Also, not sure if he's accepted Jesus as the Messiah, but there are Jewish people who have converted to Christianity. I don't know if that's what
they call themselves Messianic Jews because we had someone on our podcast that was one. They don't say they're Christian. They say something else.
Because they still abide by the Jewish traditions, like the Jewish holidays.
Right.
And like Jewish culture, Jewish food, things like that. But yeah, this is hateful. This reminds me of, and I've brought it up, I think, to you before, and I bring it up all the time because it's one of my favorite parables in the Bible. But the parable of the Good Samaritan, where there is a man in need and he asks for help and he asks the followers of Jesus and he is turned away. And it is the person that was the enemy of the people that helped the man in need, that was the Good Samaritan. And Jesus says, not only to love your neighbor, Jesus says, love your enemy. So all of this hate is not Christ-like. It's actually antithetical to all of the teachings of Christ. I love the parable of the Good Samaritan in the Bible. And I think that just goes to show that we're really not a Christian nation. We are a nationalist nation. We are a pagan nation, I think. A lot of the holidays that we abide by are more I think, hedonistic than anything, really. But I don't really see a lot of my fellow real Christians. Will my real Christians please stand up? Because Jesus said, love your neighbor, love your enemy, not hate everybody all the time. I think it is a bad name on the Christian religion for sure. And
you know what William Shakespeare said? All the world's a stage and all the men and women are actors and players on it. I mean, they figured this out in the 1500s. They were like, everybody's fake. Everybody's fake. The entire world's a stage and all the men and women are actors.
Yeah. And then now with technology, we are in the beginning stages of the Matrix. Actually, one of my favorite economists, he often gives the example of like, we're at like a picket, right? We're at a crossroads where we can go towards the Matrix or Star Trek, where it's like a libertarian commune. And then over here, it's like the Matrix, where it's like, everybody's seen the Matrix, right? And we're headed this way willingly because we're all choosing to believe all of the lies, all the propaganda that the government feeds us. So yeah, I usually don't like to, and I try, it's hard not to punch down at fellow voters. I reserve all of my anger and all of my hate towards people in power, and I hold them accountable all the time. That's why I always talk shit on AOC, Bernie Sanders, all the Democrats, all the Republicans, all the people in power. Y'all can kiss my ass. But I like the point that Mia said earlier, where it's a lot of the voters, the voting class, especially with the religious argument, where they get them with all of those lies and all of that propaganda. And I wish we would just all hold hands in kumbaya and hold hands in solidarity on class lines.
I want to do a quote as well. When education becomes liberating, the oppressed becomes the oppressor. Or dreams of becoming the oppressor.
Fair.
Is this like the shark quote?
They both did their own quote, so I want to do mine. When education becomes liberating, the oppressed dreams of becoming the oppressor.
Okay, like the shark.
Okay, kind of like Animal Farm, right?
Sort of.
So you bring up the Matrix, Kim, and this was the whole basis for Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, I think, is the unofficial ruler of the Red Pill, and this is the last subject of the extremism in our country. But I think we're seeing the end of the Red Pill, thank God. But this is Andrew Tate. This is what he had to say, and he talks about the Matrix.
When I first moved to Rumble, I said, they canceled me. They fired their bullet. Unfazed. I said those words. And then I started talking on all my podcasts about the 3 lives. First, they cancel you. Then they try and put you in jail for something you did not do. Then they try to kill you. I talked about all of this. I saw the future. I'm ultimately perspicacious. I'm a genius. I knew all this shit. And I was saying this when no one else truly understood it. Now you at home know I'm always correct. I was saying this stuff and they're like, yeah. Look, when have I been wrong? Cancellation, jail. Cancellation, jail. Russell Brand that just launched charges against him. Cancellation, legal trouble. They work hand in hand. It is the Matrix. The Matrix is real. The Matrix exists to keep us all enslaved. And your ability to speak, your capability to have an opinion which is counter to the narrative is directly correlated to your irrelevance. You're only allowed to have an opinion which they don't like if nobody listens to you. If people listen to you, you must toe the line. You must sell your soul. And I don't know how to make this clearer to you people at home. Every single one of you men watching this should be afraid. You should be scared to go to sleep at night, because what is coming next is complete totalitarianism, complete slavery. Little by little, they're restricting the information. They're going to restrict the money. They're going to restrict your movement to save the world, climate. You people are going to be stuck in your house with no ability to fucking speak. And you're sitting around now thinking it's all a joke. The Matrix is going to come and destroy you. Didn't COVID teach you a thing? It was all made up for years. They made it all up for years and years. They just fucking made it up. And you're sitting there going, oh, it'll be okay. It's not going to be okay. And to win the war, you have to win every little battle, which means when they come out with these bullshit sexual assault garbage, which you're doing against me and every other man on earth with testosterone, you have to throw it out the window. And the eunuchs, the cucks, the eunuch cucked men who join that side, who are appeasing the monster trying to survive, will end up being eaten in the end anyway. You can't survive this as a man. The only chance we have is to unite and try and get some rights back, to be treated fairly under the law. I don't know, with something as basic as presumption of innocence. Isn't that the baseline of democracy?
So, Gray, we touched on domestic violence this week on the podcast. We touched on it Tuesday night, Wednesday night. You shared a very personal story. Are men under attack? Are you guys under attack? Is it hard to be a man? Poor men. What do you think?
I'm gonna agree with Andrew Tate on this one, because when I was in divorce court, we was in court, right? And I had already been paying my baby mama like every month. And then the judge was like, "Hey, he been paying you?" She was like, "Yeah, he pays, and he pays for their sports and stuff." And then he was like, "Oh yeah, you still want rears though, right?" She was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Bro, you serious? Like, you just heard what she said? Like, are you got to be kidding me?" So I've dealt with that personally. So I know with the court system for sure, women definitely have the power to, like, a man is basically screwed in that situation. As far as like dating now, maybe for younger guys, it's probably a lot harder, because, it is a loneliness epidemic. It is, women have businesses, women are growing financially. So I can understand why men are feeling like they aren't, the alpha male anymore. But I don't think the violence and the aggression is the answer. Just go trick a female, trick her, lie, come up with something. That's way better than aggression and trying to control somebody.
Well, he's also in the news, and I'm going to have one of the ladies go next. He's in the news because he said that men cannot be deadbeats. Here we go.
I believe there is such a thing as a deadbeat dad. What there is a woman who won't shut the f*** up. There's not a man on the planet which will abandon his offspring.
This might be every day. I'm like, could there be a worse take than saying I miss human trafficking, or saying Epstein was a successful guy? And then I hear deadbeat dad. Yeah, no, actually, there 100%. There many deadbeat dads exist. So many. And it's not all women's fault that men abandon their children.
And how selfish must you be as a woman to make your child grow up without a father because you won't shut the f*** up?
Again, this is a new take, and I'm not bringing up, I think this is a new video, but amidst the war, saying this stuff is one, just like, oh my. And second, it's like, this is why the manosphere is over and the red pill's over, because they're supposed to be holding each other accountable. Blaming being a deadbeat dad on women is exactly what you're supposed to be fighting against: the lack of accountability, the lack of responsibility, removing yourself from any error. No, it's not the woman's fault if you abandon your kid, and it's insane you have to say this stuff. All right, and the narrative from tech teams is like, oh, you're obsessed. No, I'm trying to correct stuff that's very obviously wrong. If the tech teams in Israel is the most famous man, like they claim, then this stuff is going to be harmful to society, right? Then they're saying, oh, you're obsessed. No, you said, Muhammad, there's too many Muhammads in the West. They're coming to slaughter your daughter. All that's incorrect. Gambling is bad, and now I'm doing it. No, that's also incorrect. It's like you're getting things very wrong on a major scale. This stuff needs correction when it affects people's lives, just like this. No, don't be a deadbeat dad. It's not obsession. This is just harming the world.
There are literally no deadbeat dads alive.
Is this top 3 worst takes you've ever heard? This has to be, I didn't really, will lie, I didn't think it was pop. Then I miss human trafficking, or Epstein is successful. I can't even, what? And the reason I think he's doing this is because this is what got him popular in the first place, right? Blaming women, feminism is the matrix, and losing popularity so you want to regain it. But he doesn't seem to understand, I keep saying it, that this stuff is over. Misogyny, this stuff is not cool. Like, being a deadbeat dad is not being an alpha male. Raising your kids is cool. Being around in the life of your family is cool. This is not going to make you popular. People have moved on. There's a war happening right now. There's other issues on people's minds than being a base deadbeat dad. This is not going to revive your career.
I think it's the same story for all the dads out there. All the deadbeat dads. These women just won't be quiet.
Yeah, that's what women who are deadbeat mothers, that's what they say. They say the same thing. They'll blame the father for the reason that they're not around, and it just becomes this cycle. He's literally advocating for toxic relationships and empty households. And then the defense will be like, oh, you're being ironic, he's just being funny. Yeah, but there's this stuff is just really, really bottom of the barrel rhetoric and stupid.
So basically, people are asking in the chat who these guys are. Let me tell you who Sneeko is. The guy you heard speaking that you like, Kimberly, is Sneeko. He actually advocated for Trump. He was a part of the Red Pill. But recently, he's now converted to being a Muslim, and he has denounced a lot of the Red Pill things. In fact, he also went viral recently because they played a certain song in the club in Miami, and he got canceled for it. And I'll tell you after the show. So based on what you heard, Kimberly, as a mother, as someone that's I'm sure has dealt with a father of your kids, what do you think about that? Can men be deadbeats, or is it the woman's fault?
Ignorance knows no race, no gender, no age, no nationality, no physical or mental disability. There are ignorant people in all groups of people, all of them. There are, Lord knows I know there are ignorant Mexicans. I've met them. They're ignorant everything. And it's the same with gender. There are ignorant women. There are ignorant men. Ignorance isn't even, it doesn't even have to be an age thing. So I'm sure if you fixate, or if you're, I guess, fixating on a certain group of people, you can say that about men, right? There are a lot of princess boys out here. And well, I don't like princess boys. I'm the only princess in the relationship. Same with women. There's a lot of women out there who just need to be a little bit more feminine. You know, women aren't always the victims, right? It's the same thing with literally every group of people. So I think that, and I say this in Spanish, hay una epidemia de estupidez. There's an epidemic of stupidity because people in general are ignorant. And this guy, Andrew, he's wired. He is so wired. Somebody, please, does he have any real friends? Please help your friend. He needs to chill out. He's so angry. There's this really good book called Letting Go by Dr. David R. Hawkins, and it talks about reaching a higher enlightenment, right? There's more to life than drugs, sex, alcohol. And there's a hierarchy of emotions. And when you're lingering on the bottom vibration, the apathy, hate, anger, all that, you're at a lower vibration. You need to let go. You need to release. You need to move on. Humans are more than just our physical being. We can be more than that. We just meditate and just learn to be more than our physical state. And that's what my homie Andrew needs, because I know, and I can speak to it on a personal level, that there are fucking, I'm hesitant. I wouldn't say that my baby daddy's a deadbeat. I've never called him that, but other people have. You know, part-time, minimum, bare minimum. There are men like that, where if you don't hold them to account, they're not going to do more than is needed. I could say the same thing about women, just to like what Gray said about women who will victimize themselves and get away with more just because the system allows it. It happens both ways. And we could talk about it all day, but men are not the victims. Men also need to, you know, and like become enlightened on both ends. So yeah, that's the Andrew guy, the guy that went to go live in Romania, right? He like lives in Romania, that Andrew guy?
The one that for sex trafficking, yes.
Yes. I'm familiar with him. And you did show me the clip at the club. I was here when you showed that.
Yeah.
I think we just all need to, you know, like I said, ignorance knows no race, color, gender, ethnic background, sexual orientation, religion, disability. There are ignorant people in everywhere all the time, and I think I'm inclined to believe that we're better than that. So
hey, do y'all remember when Vulgar would host every topic was like a red pill spin?
Yes, attacking women every night,
Always,
all night, every
which
night,
is so crazy because
night.
he was married. That like that's what made it
And
worse.
she
is
cheered
that-
it on. She was like, "Yes, baby, you're
Really?
so right. Women suck."
And I mean, I guess good for him for finding a cheerleader, but I always thought it was super bizarre because he never had anything positive to say. And if I remember correctly, he had daughters or a daughter and he had a wife. And I'm just like,
30.
I'm like, damn, homie, like we're not that
bad. And then not only just that, you know, Andrew Tate. Someone asked, does Andrew Tate has children? Yes, he has multiple children. Multiple women. I think the kids are like literally months apart. He has a harem of women, hence why he became a Muslim. But the other person in the red pill, this is for Mia. Well, this is for Kamal and Mia. This clip right here, this is about women and what Myron Gaines was asked. He does a college tour. I don't understand why they allow him on college campuses, but they do. Here we go.
Your statement here, women deserve less.
Yes.
What substantiates that conclusion?
Because women are incredibly entitled, rude, narcissistic, solipsistic.
Okay, so let's
have huge egos.
Okay, so let's zero in on that one point. You said entitled. Okay, so women are entitled. How did you come to that conclusion?
Well, I think any heterosexual guy here will agree with me that dating women.
How did you come to that conclusion? What's your reasoning?
So you want my anecdotal answer?
No, I don't. I'm talking about logic. Like, what's your reasoning? This doesn't include.
Okay, I mean, I can draw from many
necessarily.
different, I guess, pools, but in general, I've talked to over 4,000 women.
No. This isn't. I'm trying to get what science substantiates that claim. What studies are there that support the claim that women are entitled, and then therefore it necessarily follows that women deserve less?
Women, okay, are opportunistic maters.
Okay. No, okay.
God.
Now you're doing something different. So we started off with women are entitled, and now you're saying opportunistic maters. Which one, like, let's focus on one at a time.
You're muted, Norm.
So the reason why this is significant is this is the start. You know, he wrote a book, Mia. It says Why Women Deserve Less. We've covered him a lot. You know, he talks to women every night. He hosts a show in Miami where he has the OnlyFans models come on, and he believes that's a representation of women. What's your thoughts on him and the Red Pill movement? And is it going to die now?
I mean, I don't think the red pill's going to die because there's always going to be incel men out there. There's always going to be men out. There's always going to be incel men. There's going to be men that are always involuntarily celibate. And now more than ever, we have a lot of men that there is an epidemic of loneliness because a lot of men have been taught and raised and fostered in a way that they don't have to do anything when it comes to relationships or maintaining relationships or anything like that. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks that a lot of men think they can just go to work and then come home. It's like, baby, we're both going to work and coming home. So now we're even. So now what else is coming along with this package? Because we're even now in this society. It is so unaffordable to live. Now we both have to work. And I think a lot of men struggle with that part, that second part. Like, we're on an even playing field. What else are you bringing? What else is happening in this relationship? Are you going to be nice to me? What's going on here? And I think a lot of men struggle with that as well. And I think that this is going to be controversial, but I blame women for the reason that Myron thinks the way he thinks. Women go on his show and present themselves in a way that gives him this impression and gives millions of men this impression, right? He has those OF models on there. He has these degenerate, low vibrational women on there. If those women stopped being this way, stopped going on there, stopped feeding into it, stopped giving him views, we wouldn't have this problem. But unfortunately, we do have a subset of women that are low vibrational that enjoy even negative energy from him. So, I mean, women are partly to blame for this epidemic as well, because we can't deny that there is a subset of us that are low vibrational and that do act with a level of degeneracy that isn't becoming of them. And now we're all unfortunately stereotyped and labeled. I mean, as we're all Black on here, we know, and Kim's Mexican. I'm sure she hears it all the time. You know what I mean? Like, even if we don't act a certain way, we're guilty by association. We're never going to move past it because unfortunately we're just guilty by association.
This is the final clip of the night, guys. If you're watching, please hit the like button. This is for Kamal. This is Abba and Preach, Kamal, and this is what they had to say about Myron.
Pill dying?
You said that.
Flashback.
We are better than you niggas, period. The only thing you guys got on us is you guys been on longer. But I guarantee you, next year, this time, we're going to lap you motherfuckers. Because you know what? Nobody works harder than us.
Nope.
Period.
6 months later.
And then, guys, just so you know, we're probably going to stop live streaming on YouTube here pretty soon.
Yeah.
So now they're gonna quit the live streaming on YouTube. They won't last on Twitch. Probably last a couple of months, and then they'll be banned from there. So they're only gonna be on Rumble. And now basically the biggest channel of the whole red pill space is going to pretty much kill its own growth. Well, its growth has pretty much been dead. They haven't been gaining subscribers, nothing. So they have to quit because there's just like no benefit to it anymore. I mean, they can't grow.
No.
I mean, look at Andrew Tate. He went from talking about the whole men's activist stuff to now just doing a bunch of race bait stuff on Twitter just to get shock value, to get notoriety. Like, he's just trying to squeeze the last bit of juice before he kind of fades into irrelevance.
That's what Myron is doing as well.
Yeah, that's my whole point. Everyone's just squeezing the orange dry before they got to quit. But I promise you, 2-3 years from now, Andrew Tate's going to be an irrelevant name. 2-3 years from now, this whole Fresh and Fit stuff going to be dead. And when I say dead, does not mean that they're no longer going to be around. They're just, their reach is going to just keep, it's already plummeted. It's going to keep plummeting. What I had predicted, which was these people don't know how to strategize, they don't know how to make good messaging, they don't know how to actually package any of their stuff. All these people are going to fade to irrelevance. I mean, we'll be there at the funeral.
Is he telling the truth, Kamal? Will they fade to irrelevancy? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I keep saying it. Like, I don't feel Myron Gaines gonna fade to irrelevancy because he was the first or one of the first to come over to the political game and try to grift the MAGA people to be real. But the whole red pill shit or whatever, yeah, that's a dead brand. That brand is finito. Where the fuck is my goddamn black attire at so I could go to the funeral too? That shit done deal. It's over. You feel me? Hey, y'all need to be learning from that one nigga, Tiki Taki, whatever his name is. Y'all see how he's spinning the shit? Man, he getting on here. He going from red pill to trying to expose people. He trying to expose Piers Morgan. He tried to expose some other people and shit. Man, but it's so crazy because, like, you know, the real creators of the red pill, them niggas don't even get no shine. You feel me? From the Roland Tomasis to the Tommy Sotomayor's and shit, them niggas get no play. You feel me? So the rest of the cronies that's in this red pill shit, it's a done deal, man. Like, I feel that, I'll say this. Myron, one of them dumb smart niggas, right? He's smart because he kind of rolled over to the conservative side and did all that shit. But he dumb because the way he was talking, that's the reason why he lost his girl and kept the poodle. You feel me? And Mia, you very nice. You know what I mean? I'm not as nice. Them women is some dumb hoes he be having on the show.
That's what
dumb
I'm
hoes.
That's what I'm saying. We've contributed to that part. You know what I mean? Just by going on a panel show like that, knowing that he says degenerate, crazy stuff. It's not like they don't know what they're walking into. He says like crazy stuff, and they like just go there because they want the exposure. Because bad press is better than no press. But it's like, man, bitches, you bring all of us down too with you.
But don't you think he picks those women? Like, he's never gonna have an intellectual woman on his show.
Hell no, Kimberly, he don't pick them women. Them women actually shoot their info to him. It'd be reaching out to him sometimes.
Yes, I was gonna say, because I know someone that asked to be on. I don't know why they didn't bring her on. Probably because she's smart. Actually, I'll tell you who. Ratchet Christian.
They weren't gonna have. Yeah, she's smart.
We offered to. We met him in person, and she gave her information. And she met him face to face and gave her information. I don't know if she heard it back, but she hasn't been on, and that was in December.
He's not going to have intellectual women on his show, so he's also doing that. Like, he's contributing to that stereotype himself. They're all just feeding off. They're all bottom feeders. They're feeding off of their low vibration. All of them.
Y'all don't feel like hoes winning?
What hoe is winning?
Hoes winning in this area. Y'all don't feel like that?
Name me one hoe that's winning.
She done. Cardi B done had a baby. Cardi B, she done had a baby with her husband and was still legally married and had another baby, and she's on one of the top world tours right now. Cardi B, that's a hoe right there.
You know, there are a lot of women. I know women who make a lot of money on OnlyFans, and they just. And sometimes I'm like, damn, maybe I should do that.
There. That's the whole right there too.
I'll tell y'all right now, them hoes gonna be burnt out in 5 years. Most niggas don't think beyond 5 years. It's all short-term shit. Yeah, you gonna get the big bucks now, but after that, the internet never dies. And whatever you erase, motherfuckers can still find it at the end of the day. Tell me right now.
I think a lot of women are raised in society to be able to have independence and be alone and problem solve because most of us were raised in that kind of environment. I know I was. So I think women, I don't want to say hoes be winning, but I think women win in general because society fosters us to be problem solvers, to take care of family, to go to school, to do all of these things, which are singular action things that we do. So we find it easier to be alone.
Yes.
A lot more than men. Men are not groomed from society to be alone. They're groomed to be providers, but in order to be a provider, you're providing for others, right? Women are groomed to be alone by society and by expectation. So I think a lot of the time the women do come on top, and I think that's simply because we're able to be alone. A lot more than men are able to be alone.
Hold on, Mia. I gotta disagree because we were saying that the hoes are on top, not women.
I know.
So-
I'm trying to frame it to something better.
I got an example. Jelly Roll wife.
What about
she? She was a porn star, and now she's with Jelly Roll.
How's that winning?
Good example.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, she is part of the reason that he is where he is. I mean, she's the one that funded him. She's the one that helped him, that got him a lot of those connections, and that was with him before, back when he was still rapping and in and out of jail and a felon before he ever did this country shit. So, I mean,
is that what I gotta do to find a man? Because I'm a good girl. I've had 3 boyfriends. Am I supposed to be a hoe?
No, Kimberly, you didn't hear what Mia just said. She said that woman invested in that man.
Right?
Who cares about the
she
whole
used
status?
the whole proceeds to invest in the man.
There you go. Investment. Y'all know how investments work. You know, sometimes it might not work out. It might strike zero.
It's a risk.
But a lot of times, right, you do some investments, you know what I mean? Y'all know stock market. Y'all know Microsoft and Google and shit. It's the same with humans.
Kim, you're out in California. That's where all the hot, rich people are. Go to Silicon Valley. You got blue eyes and dark hair. What are you waiting here for?
It's not by, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make this about me. It's not for like lack of choices, right? I just choose to be alone because I'm not like a casual kind of person. You know what I mean?
Well, change that. You need to become casual so you can meet more men.
That's what I was asking. I need to be a little bit of a hoe.
Oh my goodness.
I'm joking. I'm not gonna do that.
Wait a minute. Can I ask a question? You feel me? Do y'all what type of drugs y'all think Tate was on? I think he was on that cocaine.
Amphetamines, for sure. He was on
He
amphetamines.
said what he takes is he does cigar and hookah, and he drinks like 4 or 5 coffees a day. Because somebody's asked him, why are you so hyped up? He said it's coffee.
I drink this all day long, girl, and I'm not
He looks
half
wired
naked
to me.
on TV.
He looks wired to me. I've been around enough people that have done cocaine. He's wired.
Hey, but I will say this. I think Andrew Tate been mad lately because it's out there in the world that he got his ass whooped by a nigga that had pink gloves on.
True.
And he is on the zesty side of the game.
True.
And Andrew Tate spit all this shit, and he got his ass whooped. It was terrible. God,
I think you're right.
you know that? Yeah, I'm telling you, the more you learn about these red pill niggas, the more sad the story get. You feel me? Myron Gaines, no matter how much money he got, his Spanish princess left and went to go find the real Mario. You feel me? Then this nigga Fresh, god damn, he about to be obscure in the next 2 years. Jesus Christ. And then you got goddamn Andrew Tate. He imploding with his crush Sneeko. You feel me? And Sneeko, I'll say this, out of all of them, Sneeko about to be victorious, right? Because you see how he did. He blended in. He's like, I'm about to become Muslim. Just like, what's her name? The one broad.
Brittany.
Brittany Renner. What religion is she now? Is she Christian?
She's a Christian again.
God
She got a
damn.
new boyfriend. She Christian.
These cosplaying Christians, man, We gotta start. Nora, you need to get on their ass about their cosplaying. You feel me?
I was happy. I know Mia clowned on her, but I was happy. But okay, guys, we're gonna start doing closing thoughts. I know everyone's tired. I saw Mia yawning over here, but make sure you guys hit that notification bell so you know when we go live.
Sorry. I guess I will leave you guys with one of my favorite quotes from Forrest Gump. Stupid is as stupid does. So don't do stupid shit and you won't be called stupid.
Good one. Let everybody know where they can find you at too.
You can find me obviously here at this handle. I'm on TikTok, I'm on X, and I'm on Instagram.
Thank you, Mia. Kimberly, what's your closing thoughts?
I just want to say I really appreciate you guys. I like talking to you guys. Thanks for being my friends. Sometimes, like, I had a migraine all day today, and you guys made me feel better. So I really appreciate y'all. I like talking to you guys. And you guys can find me. It's the same handle everywhere. I made a YouTube page the other day. I'm new to YouTube. Please follow me on YouTube. I'm also on TikTok and Instagram. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Kim. Come on, what's your closing thoughts?
Man, shout out to Kimberly. She just basically said black folks is the medicine. Think about it. There we go. Look, y'all, this was a great episode. Y'all go follow the new party, hit the notification bell so you know when they go live. If y'all want to come over to my end, all y'all got to do is type in Kamal Johnson. I'll pop up. Go follow the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. A couple people that's been in the chat has gone over and saw some of my shows. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the chat today too, man. Y'all was real calm today. I appreciate y'all. Y'all was funny as hell in the chat too. God damn. First of all, hey man, you MAGA motherfuckers, man. Y'all gotta cool your jets, man. Y'all do all this jokey joke shit with everybody else, but as soon as it's on your doorstep with Druski looking like he kind of looked like Erica Kurt, man. You know what I mean? Kind of Jabba the Hutt type of shit too. You feel me? But yeah, man, get your panties out a bunch, man. It's a joke. Druski be joking on everybody. Okay. Then yeah, it's a lot of extremists going on from the left and the right. You feel me? I've been seeing that all goddamn for the past really like year, to be honest. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's if we is playing characters, you feel me, the aliens that's up there watching and God watching too, he laughing at us. He like, these motherfuckers out of control, fighting amongst each other like crazy. And then the last thing I have to say, yeah, I hate to say it. I guess some of the hoes is winning. I'll say the some. All right. You feel me? The 5-year plan gonna be a rocky road though. I'm telling y'all right now. All right. And also the red pill. Oh man, the tombstone 2026. As soon as you saw Myron Gaines saying he co-parenting the poodle, we know he co-parenting the poodle because we had Bernsey over here saying that he co-parent the dog after his woman left him for the man that she always wanted to be with. She got her green card and was like, all right, I'm about to be with the real white man, not the cosplaying white man. All right. Anyway, y'all have a great weekend. I guess I gotta roast somebody in the chat. Uncle Ruckus, you could tell your mama to stop eating donkey dicks. He out here, you see, at the end of the damn show. Here we go. I ain't been clowning on the chat for a good minute now. Now I gotta clown on Uncle Ruckus' ass. You feel me? And yeah. Start closing your eyes and listening to Nick Fuentes, my favorite honky. You feel me? Hear how he sound. He sounding like certain other people that we know. All right. And I ain't really got much more to say.
Okay.
So the title of today's episode is Extremism in Both Political Parties Destroying America. So it feels like we're talking about extremism as the issue. And I misquoted myself, so I want to correct it. And this will be my final thoughts. When education is not liberating, the dream of the oppressed is to become the oppressor. So that's why we should show everyone respect. That's why they say if the CEO, you should treat the janitor the same as you treat the executive, because even if you're in power, the oppressed is always going to remember the pain and issues you caused to them. So then when they get power, then they'll probably end up oppressing you. And that's what's happening in the extremism. Like we always say on the new party, always vote.
Okay, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Tonight was like a chill night, a break. We had the debates going on. So for those of you guys who have been rocking with us, thank you so much for supporting us. We're going to take a break on the debates. We might be back in a few weeks, but they'll probably be moving. We working on things. So if you guys like the debates, please definitely check us out Monday through Thursday. But as we wrap up tonight's conversation, I think one thing should be clear to everyone watching. The biggest threat to America may not be the left or the right alone. It's extremism on both sides, guys. Like Gray said, the topic was, is extremism in both political parties destroying America? And I believe it is. When people stop listening, stop debating, and start treating political opponents like enemies instead of fellow citizens, the country begins to tear itself apart. We all know cult members. We all know people that are in cults. The cult of the left, the cult of the right, the Trump cult, the this, the cult, the that cult. You can love Trump and you can respect him, but it becomes a little weird when you become cultish, okay? It becomes a little weird when you cannot talk to people on other sides. We see it every day. Outrage culture, ideological purity tests, and people who would rather destroy the other side than actually fix problems. If you are watching a content creator and they're like the left, the left, the left, the right, the right, the right, please stop watching them, because they are part of the problem in this country, all right? The strength of this country has always been debate, disagreement, and the ability to coexist despite differences. But when politics becomes tribal warfare, we lose sight of something bigger, our shared humanity, okay, guys? And this is where scripture gives us wisdom that is still relevant today. In the Bible, Mark 3:25 says, if a house is divided against itself, that house cannot stand. The message applies just as much to a nation as it does to a family. And another powerful reminder comes from James 1:19. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. But imagine how different our politics would look if people followed that advice. And finally, Matthew 5:9 says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Maybe what America needs right now isn't louder extremists, but more peacemakers, more people willing to come to the table and talk to both sides and talk in a civil way. People willing to have difficult conversations, challenging their own side and seeking truth instead of just victory. But because if we let extremism define our politics, we risk losing that very thing that made this country great. God bless. Good night. Stay safe, guys. And thank you for supporting.